Hello everyone, my name is Delisha Davids. I am a lecturer in the Faculty of Education, and today it is my privilege to tell you a little bit more about why you should become a teacher. So if you are grade 12 and you are wondering why it is that you should become a teacher, I'm going to share some questions with you as well as some ideas that can help you to make that final decision. So a little overview about my presentation today. So I want to tell you a little story about curiosity. So before I have you reflect on what it is that you would like to do in this journey of becoming a teacher, I'd like to tell you a little bit of my own story. And then also I have quite a bunch of questions that I'd like to help you with so that you can think about your own journey going forward. So firstly, a question, or a story rather, about curiosity. So when I was in grade 3, I received a diploma and a book prize at our annual prize giving ceremony. And this book was about a curious pig who always went searching for interesting things around town. Now, this character's little nose got her into a bit of trouble and some danger, but essentially she caught a thief and was awarded with a medal from the mayor. Now, what was significant about this book was that it was the first English book that I had received as a gift from anyone, and it really activated my own curiosity and love for learning through books and later on educational material as well. Why do I tell you this story? Well, I believe that who you are is how you teach. And the teacher that gave me this book was one of the inspirations why I later in my life actually realized that maybe becoming a teacher was one of the most important things that I could do with my life. Now, I have a little bit of a pet peeve when it comes to thinking about who we become in our adult lives. And oftentimes I find that we ask young kids and students your age the question about what do you want to be, but instead I think we should be asking the question of what problem is it that you'd like to solve. Now on the screen you'll see that there are top 10 skills of 2025, which is a list of skills that are often published by the World Economic Forum, and through their data they help us to see what are the skills that are necessary for a thriving world. Now as a teacher, one of the most important problems that you'd be helping to solve is to help learners become active citizens in our country, in our society, through the development of these 10 skills. Now, this is only the 2025 list, so by the time that you finish your degree, this list would already have changed. But in addition to this, we often hear and read about literacy issues, students that have a fear for learning. Perhaps you were one of them that, when exam time comes, you actually are really scared to go into that exam hall and really go and attempt that question paper. And also, we don't always see confident individuals who are impactful coming out of society. And as a teacher, you will be walking that journey with your learners to ensure that they become these confident individuals who can tackle issues like climate change, thinking about the COVID-19 pandemic that was recent, to be able to innovate. So as they say, teachers really are the instigators of all other professions, and as you walk that journey with students, you will be activating their love and their curiosity for learning with whatever it is that they decide who they like to become, or also the problem that they'd like to solve. Now, my first question for you is, what are your motivations? And the reason I put these two different motivations, the intrinsic and the extrinsic motivation, on the screen is oftentimes people think about teaching and education, and actually this is a little bit of a myth, as a career that has long holidays and that they end work around 3 o'clock. Now I can tell you as a teacher in a university setting that is far from the truth. Also, you think about perhaps the salary and benefits, and while these things are important for us to live and work, they should not be the only reasons why you think of teaching as an enticing career. And of course, also the status that comes with becoming a teacher. Those are all extrinsic motivation factors that could be a part of the reason why you want to become a teacher, but these should not be the only ones, because I can tell you in those tough times when you are sitting with a learner and they are really just not progressing, those salary and the additional benefits are probably not going to be enough to carry you through those difficult times. Now, I'd like you to think about the kinds of intrinsic motivations that you can draw from when you think about the career of being a teacher. And these are often things that are not linked to material rewards, so they can't necessarily be seen on the outside. And these motivations come from knowing that you have the ability to impact and influence an entire nation. You might see 30, 40, if you're lucky, 20 students in your class and think that your impact is so small. But remember that these are individuals that will go out into the workplace. They might even go overseas, and they will be impacting their little communities in a specific kind of way. And oftentimes we draw inspiration from the people who guided us along the way. Then, of course, you have the immense privilege, but also a responsibility of walking alongside a young mind, and also to be able to ignite a love for learning. Now, these are not things that are easily, you can't easily see them, and so those intrinsic motivations, you really have to dig a little bit deeper to understand if these are the things that motivate you, and possibly at least one of these should be a part of how you think about becoming a teacher. Then I'd also like you to draw your attention to your own strengths and talents. Now, these 5 clues to talent on the screen currently refer to flow, rapid learning, glimpses of excellence, yearning, and satisfaction. Now, flow, I don't know if you've ever felt a time where you really just forgot about what was happening in the world. You forgot to get up to eat. You were so engrossed in the activity that you were doing. And I'm not talking about watching series, okay? However, when you are in a state of flow, you are really focused and you are enjoying what it is that you're doing. And so think about the kinds of activities in your life today that gets you to that state of flow. And that might be one of the first clues that you can figure out whether you should become a teacher. When it comes to rapid learning, of course, these are activities or skills that you pick up quickly. Some of us are really talented at playing an instrument. Some people are really talented at just, being able to pick up a bat and then to hit a cricket ball. So what are activities that you pick up really quickly? I'm an avid dancer, and so when I watch people, I generally pick up dancing quite quickly, which is one of the reasons why I was interested in physical education as one of my subjects when I was doing my undergrad. And so again, rapid learning, thinking about the activities that you pick up quite easily, are things that help you to see whether you are suited to becoming a teacher and whether you should pursue that as a career path. Then glimpses of excellence. These are activities that you often do, and then you go, wow, how did I do that? Oftentimes for me, when I write something and I go back and I go, yo, did you really write that? And that, of course, is very important for me as a teacher, but also for my own career as a researcher. And that's how I'd like you to think about these glimpses of excellence for you. Perhaps you can just get up in front of an audience and start speaking, and people really just hang on every word that you say. Or perhaps you can really just think about, mathematics or data in a very quick way. And so that helps you to see that actually these are things that you're good at that you might be taking for granted. Then second to last, we have yearning. These are activities that you absolutely cannot wait to start. What are the things that really get you up in the morning? What are the things that excite you? You just finished that activity and then you want to start again. Is it playing a sport? Is it singing? Is it being able to write stories or being able to create really cool graphics or videos? There are a lot of activities that help you to see and that fit within the educational profession that you are able to bring to the degree program. And then finally, satisfaction. So this is that really feel-good hormone that comes when you finish an activity and you just go, you know what, this is what I was meant to do. And particularly in relation to education, I must tell you a little bit of this story. So I didn't initially think that I wanted to be a teacher. I actually came to the university to study civil engineering. When I tell my students that, we all have a little giggle about that. But I had a very big interest in science and mathematics. And this brings me back to the question earlier on about what is the problem that you want to solve versus what you want to become. And so my interest for mathematics and science, I actually brought into natural science as my subject specialization once I figured out that actually I should have been a teacher. And when I had to make that decision to change degrees, I really sat and I thought, what have been the things that I was good at, that I could pick up naturally? And I reflected and I thought, wow, there's been a lot of mentoring in my life as a young adult. There has been times where I had to guide people. I always coached different dancers. And so when I really looked at it, I saw that actually I was walking alongside people, teaching them a new skill or some new content to create something beautiful. And that's when I really realized that education was for me, and I haven't looked back since. So these 5 dimensions of figuring out what your strengths and talents are helpful for you in your final decision to choose education. And then, of course, we all are not great at all things all the time, and I am someone who believes in lifelong learning. So the last question you need to ask yourself is, which parts of yourself do you still need to develop? And I've put a long list of things on the screen for you, but think about how to teach complex ideas to learners, for instance. Whether you have the confidence to speak in front of many people. How do you determine whether learners are in fact developing new knowledge, or if what you are teaching them is just something that looks very exciting? How does one integrate technology into teaching and learning? And the list goes on and on. And so what I want to bring your attention to with this slide in particular is that it is our job as the Faculty of Education to develop these skills for you, to help you to learn the theories, the practical applications that underpin education. Because to the naked eye, it might look like someone is just coming into the classroom and just speaking off a few slides, but it takes a lot of preparation. It takes intentional creation and creativity when you're thinking about how is it that I'm going to bring about learning for my learners today. And so I'm not asking you to come with all of the skills already, otherwise you wouldn't need our faculty, but we will be there to walk alongside you as you would do with younger learners to develop your capacity to become a teacher who is impactful. And so as I close this off, I'd just like you to remember that who you are is how you teach. And this brings me back to that story about curiosity in the beginning that I told you. I think I'm a very curious person, and that has evolved into loving learning. I learn with my students every single day. You can constantly find me in a book nook reading something new, and that is the kind of teacher that I am in the classroom. I invite us to go and explore. We investigate new things in the classroom, and I hope that I inspire my students in the way that you, as an inspiring teacher, will inspire the next generation as well. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that these questions will guide you into making that final decision. And if you do decide to make Stellenbosch your choice for developing the skills as a teacher, I'll see you in your first year class. Thank you very much.